had in mind that I was going to paint a simple painting for YouTube. It was going to be called something like Colorful Kitchen Art, and it was going to have a bunch of asparagus floating in a large space. Well, I thought I'd put in a really colorful background and would end up with a simple yet dazzling piece. The only problem was it was so boring. So in order to fix this boring disaster, I decided to try some different things. Stick around, I'll show you how I redeemed this painting and turned it into something special and beautiful. My first thought was to drop in a couple of lemons just to add some color and dimension to it. Then I got a little carried away. I thought, well, if lemons are good, oranges are even better, right? You'll notice I put that big orange right in the middle of the painting, which is a real no-no. But I had such a good time with these orange slices and playing with the shadows and the highlights there. If you're enjoying this video, would you consider hitting the like and subscribe? Thanks. I added some little Lady Jane apples in, tucked some back in that shadow area, and I realized the apples and the asparagus were exactly the same color. So I had to go back and rework those. And then the background looked so empty now that I'd added so much to the front, and I thought, well, how about a blue and white bowl? So I used a T-square and got that top line straight and just freehanded a bowl in and dropped in a layer of just pure titanium white to cover up that beautiful color underneath. But I didn't want to just leave it pure white, and I knew it was going to need some color, so I used a light bluey purple just to give that some form. And then I tried putting in that line using a round brush, and it just wasn't working, so I got an angular brush, and that was just perfect for that kind of mark. Then I decided that for this bowl to look right, it really needed to be painted gray. So I made my favorite gray, got it darker on the right side, lighter where the light was hitting. I added some slow dry medium so that I could get a seamless transition in the middle of that bowl where those two colors were meeting. And then the fun part, I just love doing this sort of little freehand, doing the blue and white. One trick is I was using ultramarine there, use some pure ultramarine and then drop in some ultramarine with white, and it really gives you that hand-painted ceramic look. Remember, if you start out with pure white for your bowl, it doesn't leave you any place to do highlights. And then that bowl looked kind of lonely, and I thought, well, now the back of the painting looks empty, so then I decided to drop some hydrangea in. I just couldn't seem to stop it with this painting. It just kept going on and on, but I'm so glad. You know, sometimes it's tempting just to quit and be satisfied with where you are, but I felt like there was more that this painting had, and I just kept on adding and adding, and I'm so glad I did. It's just quickly become one of my very favorite paintings. One thing with hydrangea, even if you've got a white one, putting in a touch of Naples yellow can help it feel like there's light on it, and a touch of ultramarine can make it feel like there's some shadow. And you'll see, even with this lightest one on the right, I get pretty dark at the bottom where it's in full shadow, and then as I finish the top, I add some just pure white to it. So I've got a wide range of values there, and that's one trick that will really help you with hydrangea, to get that sense of deep shadow and bright light. Here you're going to see me adding in these whites there at the end. But if you start out with white, you just don't have any place to go. There I've added in some leaves and a couple of stems. I like these little woody stems, and I'll put just a couple of bumps on either side of the stem, and it really makes it feel more textured and a little more organic. And I'm putting in the back of the bowl, made it a little darker. Just redefining those stems a little bit. That orange that's in the middle of the painting should never have been there. It just looks like a bullseye. I knew when I first put it in that I shouldn't have put it there, And at the end of this painting, I love the painting so much, and I thought that orange in the middle is just bugging me. My eye goes right to it. I've got to remove it. So I painted over it with titanium white, and then decided to add another, to put in a lemon slice. But if you'll notice, it's floating up in the air. It's not drawn correctly. It's not sitting on the table. So I decided to help my brain work through that. I'm just going to have to paint through that whole background and then put the lemon slice in. It was a lot of work, and it took a lot of coats to cover everything back up. But I was just so glad I took the time. It just really saved the painting. The painting was going off the rails because of that big thing right in the center. So I a little more carefully this time drew another lemon slice. I was careful to take that lemon in front, and I drew the top of it a little higher just to make sure it was obvious that it was in front of that slice. And I decided to change my purple shadows to blue. I wanted to bring that blue of the bowl forward, so I just tweaked those shadow colors. I lightened that foreground up so that the background remained the pink, and we had some light, beautiful corals. I even added coral to the asparagus stalks, just adding that one more touch of glow, bringing that color harmony to full fruition, popping in my signature. And it was 2 days worth of work, 2 days worth of adjustments, but I ended up with a painting that, as I say, it has become one of my favorites. Something that started out as a very boring painting, pulled it out and became something beautiful. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to find out more, please go to my website, victoriahagemanart.com. There you'll find very reasonably priced full-length courses, shorter tutorials, and you can see paintings that I have for sale. 25% of my painting sales go to hydrating humanity to build water wells. You can beautify your home while beautifying a life. Links in the description box below. And don't forget to sign up for my YouTube channel, where there's lots of free stuff coming out all the time. You don't want to miss it. Thanks again. God bless.